my place, and I am welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of York Region. We're so pleased that you could join us. My name is Reverend Pat Ball, and I am the minister at Unity Ministry in Motion, which York Region is a part of. We're so thrilled that you're here today. Our speaker today is our own blessed Vesna Mitchell. Now, she, as you know, does everything at Unity of York Region, mostly everything. But she also is a certified spiritual life coach. And while battling breast cancer in 2011, Vesna found Unity and made it her spiritual home ever since. So she is currently almost ready to apply for ministerial to become a Unity minister. And we are so blessed to have her today as our speaker. She's going to be talking to us about the secret to living a spiritual, authentic life, to discover the beauty inherent in all aspects of our existence. And so it's up to us to be present to this beauty, and she's going to talk to us about it, even in our dark and painful experiences. So it's all part of being a divine, realizing our own divine essence. Let's start with music, shall we?
Oh, yeah. God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Yes, indeed. Everything is God. Let's take a moment to turn within and feel that presence of God within us, breathing us, flowing through us. God is everywhere present. There is only one presence and one power. Everywhere present. So all that is God, is Spirit. Where that essence, where its center is everywhere and its circumference is nowhere. Unending, unlimited. We are so grateful today to come together to celebrate this presence and to affirm that as we live our lives and allow our divine essence to manifest, we are in the flow. We bless all spiritual gatherings that are happening today and throughout this week, here in York Region and throughout the world. For we know that there are many names for God, many paths for God, many ways in which to celebrate that presence. But there is only one God, no matter what we call it or hold it in our hearts. So we open our minds and our hearts to this wonderful service today. And so it is. Amen. Unity York Region is a part of not just Unity Ministry in Motion, but also a part of the whole Unity movement. And so we hold the same vision as many Unity churches here across our country, across the planet. Let's affirm it together. Our vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. That doesn't say that it's going to always look pretty. It doesn't say that everything's always going to be exactly the way we want it to be. But that's what happens with power and transformation. When we allow it to happen and contribute to the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening, we know we are in the flow. And so what is ours to do here at Unity of York Region? Our mission is, as a vibrant, thriving spiritual community, to serve the world by embodying unity principles of higher consciousness. And by embodying them, it doesn't just mean studying them, it means practicing them. And it's always practice. We will probably never totally say, there, that's it, I'm done. We've got it now, we're good to go. Thanks God, but we'll take it from here. Oh no, God always will be guiding us and making us vibrant and thriving. So when we put these all together, we affirm God is, I am, we are together transforming the world. And during the month of September, the entire Canadian movement affirms prosperity and peace and harmony in these Unity centers. Unity Spiritual Center in Hamilton and Unity Kitchener. are right around us this month in Hamilton and Kitchener. The daily word today is going to be read by Sue Bond.
Good morning. Our daily word for Sunday, September 20th is smile. I share the joy and love of God when I smile. Even if a language barrier prevents me from understanding another's words, I know that most people will respond to a friendly smile. My smile can convey goodwill. My apologies. Let me try again. My smile can convey goodwill, communicate delight from an unexpected blessing, or inspire awe at the sight of a star-filled night sky. A child not yet able to talk shares love and joy quite effectively with a sunny smile. I feel happy when others smile at me. This friendly, welcoming gesture reminds me that we are all one in spirit. Smiling at my reflection in a mirror, I see the light that shines from me. I feel a quickened awareness of the divine love and joy that are present everywhere as I realize how simply and beautifully my smile can express that love and joy without any need for words. And from Numbers 6:25, the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Thank you, Sue. That is certainly what is so true when somebody smiles at you. I love that. Our Unity prayer chaplains are ready to pray with you anytime. Just call the 1-800 number or email contact@Unity York Region. And if you want immediate prayer, because we'll have to get back to you, you can always call 1-800-NOW-PRAY. I encourage you to use this service to know that you can always be in the flow. And now let's listen to Melissa Phillip as she sings Joy and Peace in My Heart.
Joy and peace in my heart, always I feel joy and peace in my mind, God within revealed, joy and peace in my life. I am healed. I am one with God. I know the truth. I am one with creation and one with you. There is no separation between all that is. I am one. Joy and peace in my heart, always I feel joy and peace in my mind, God within revealed, joy and peace in my life. I am healed. Spirit dwells within me and guides all I do. It infuses my life, and with the light I am new. I am rich with abundance of all that is good. All is good. Joy and peace in my heart, always I feel joy and peace in my mind, Joy and peace in my heart, always I feel. Joy and peace in my mind, God within revealed. Joy and peace in my life, I am healed. Joy and peace in my heart, always I feel. Joy and peace in my mind, God within revealed. Joy and peace in my life, I am
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. And now looking at our announcements, this week it's the second lesson of Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. What an amazing work that she has done here, talking to us about shame and blame and how we can be vulnerable, just transforming our life if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. So I invite you to join us this Thursday from 7:30 to 9. And next Sunday, our speaker will be Jackie Clark. Faith it till you make it. You know that old saying, fake it till you make it? Well, no longer. Faith it till you make it. And Jackie will be giving us a metaphysical story, interpretation of Joshua leading the Israelites to the promised land and the prosperity that he brought into how we can realize this in our life. Now it's time for another song by Karen Drucker.
In beauty, may I walk all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. On this path, may I walk through my life. May I walk in old age. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk. in forgiveness. May I walk in loving kindness. May I walk, may I walk, may I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk, 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 may I walk in peace. 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 In peace now. May you walk, always walk in peace. In peace. May we walk in peace. In peace. May I walk with loving kindness.
Thank you, Pat, and good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful to be here with you today and to really share with you my experience and hopefully to hear a little bit about your experience at the end of the talk on how we can discover the divine in the sublime, being able to walk the path of beauty, to truly embody and express the divinity within the world, within ourselves. Now, the song that we just heard, the inspiration for that song by Karen Drucker, May You Walk in Beauty, is actually a practice by the Dene Navajo. Every time they say goodbye to each other, they say, may you walk in beauty. And that practice, it originated from their Hozo, and I have completely mispronounced that, so please forgive me if anyone's watching this. I don't mean to offend, but it's their philosophy, it's their culture, it's their way of life, and it encompasses beauty, order, and harmony, and expresses the idea of striving for balance. So as I walk, the universe is walking with me. In beauty, it walks before me. In beauty, it walks behind me. In beauty, it walks below me. In beauty, it walks above me. Beauty is one, every side. As I walk with beauty. Now, Unity's theme for 2020, which is perfect vision, seeing through a spiritual lens, we are in this theme, we're asked to expand our vision beyond what we see. It's how we see it. And this is what walking the beauty way is. It's a path of living in harmony, of seeing beyond the polarities of good and evil. It's a use of our spiritual lens, a reminder that we have a choice. We can consciously choose how we see things. To walk in beauty is to live a spiritually authentic life, requiring us to practice awareness, presence, and surrender. So true beauty isn't subjective. The subjective aesthetic appreciation for what we're looking at. It's not objective fact. It's about seeing beyond it. True beauty is an experience. It's about something that we need to embody. It's showing up in life, being able to experience all of the richness and the fullness of our existence. And if we're not able to do that, it just really becomes another form of escapism. Now, many people, this is a teacher, Teal Swan, spiritual teacher and author. She's actually more of an internet personality. She said that many people think being spiritual means being positive, but being spiritual means being conscious and aware. To become conscious is as much a different thing than to become positive. To become conscious and aware, we must become authentic. Authenticity includes both negative and positive. And in all honesty, I'm going to go deeper than that. It transcends it. It's not an including, but transcending it. Late Unity minister and beloved Unity minister, he's definitely one of my favorites. He had written, "Where you are in consciousness has everything to do with what you see and experience." Now, beauty allows us to rest in the unknowing, cultivating wonder and awe for the mysteries of life. So it's not about transmuting or changing what we're experiencing. What we're actually trying to do is to fully embody it so that we can transform ourselves, so that we can express that which is within us outwardly into our lives. So the more we lean into it, the greater the opportunity there is for us to open up deep enough to access the deepest recesses of our soul and the innate wisdom within us that's just waiting to be expressed. So beauty and art, now that is quite honestly the most obvious way to start, and it's the easiest way. It's easy to appreciate art. It allows us to go into deeper and higher places, and artists especially are very good at digging deep into the inner recesses of the human spirit. They're led uninhibited into their creation, often creating without really knowing where the end result will be. And I don't know about you, but that's something my mind struggles with. This is where art has really been a wonderful vessel for me to be able to explore this, to practice this. If we take a look at the painting that I have on the screen right now by Edward Munch, Love and Pain, and just take a moment to look at the painting and to really, without trying to, this is where the mind kicks in, is trying to, I know my mind likes to interpret the painting. It feels on an intellectual level, that's what I need to do. But if you allow yourself just to be with it, just to look at it, and you start to notice certain sensations start coming up. You start to feel certain emotions in the body. And we have another one here by Van Gogh. If you take another moment to just look at the contrast between the two and what comes up for you. And it's not about articulating what the pieces mean. It is about allowing ourselves to open up and to see where it takes us. It's beyond intellectual understanding. I don't know if you've had this experience, but even going to an art gallery or to an art exhibit can really become sort of a sacred experience where we're moved into inspiration. Artists have this ability to connect with us. I mean, Van Gogh and Edward Munch, they're both transitioned, they're no longer with us, but we are living and experiencing both of them at this moment as we allow ourselves to appreciate the beauty within both paintings. So creativity is a tool. It's a link, it's a vessel that allows us to connect with source. Creative expression is there to make us see the unseen, and imagination gives us the power to shape and project our future. It's one of the many ways of how we exercise our co-creative faculties, how we co-create with God, and how God creates through us. Scottish-American author and naturalist John Muir wrote, "I only went out for a walk and finally concluded to stay out till sundown. For going out, I found was really going in." So beauty in nature. Again, this is, I'm sure, nothing new for anyone. Nature provides us with the most accessible experience of beauty. I mean, who hasn't experienced awe and appreciation when you're looking at a beautiful waterfall or a gorgeous mountain view? It's impossible to be in nature and not be fully mesmerized by its majestic power. And just the simple act of walking, being surrounded by the trees, and just breathing in has a sort of purifying and energizing quality. Everything, I just feel so grounded and centered after I've spent some time in nature. And now there is a science Science is now starting to catch up with what, artists and spiritualists and naturalists have known all along. And it's that we're intrinsically connected to nature and rely on this connection for our well-being. In Japan, scientists have discovered that plants emit aromatic compounds, and when we inhale them, there's a physiological response, and it causes changes in our bodies that protect us from cancer. It helps to lower blood pressure and improve immunity. And there's also been studies that have done that show the practice of grounding, so going out and walking in your bare feet in the earth, allowing your skin to contact the earth, there's actual studies that prove that it's improved inflammation, immune responses, wound healing, and it can be used in the prevention and treatment of chronic inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. It's become part of my health and wellness practice, even if it's just going out in the backyard and just, sitting and putting my feet into the ground, because we really are intrinsically connected to nature, and we rely on this connection for our well-being. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he's the American essayist and poet, wrote, "In the woods too, a woman casts off her years as the snake his slough, and at what period soever of life is always a child. In the woods is perpetual youth." And nature really enables us to embody this oneness with our Creator. It inspires us and renews us in the honest of God. So it inspires us to renew in the honest of God, where we can be like children, experiencing life with fresh eyes and an open heart and a sense of humor. Now, the beauty of children. Now, as I'm getting older, and I'm sure the experience is the same for most of us, but with each passing year, I've developed this appreciation for a child's perspective and view in life. Like, just being around children, they're like battery chargers. I just feel energized and renewed, and sometimes by the end of it, I can feel a little physically tired, but it's their unencumbered, they're unencumbered by the mature ego, and children see life through lenses of innocence, purity, and curiosity. The older I get, the more charged I feel after I spend time with children, and their hearts and minds are so open that they literally channel life force energy. Now, I'm going to share a story about my eldest son. When he was 5 years old, myself, my sister, and my son were out, and we were visiting my father, who was in a palliative care facility. It's a beautiful facility run by the Catholic Church. We're in the parking lot, visiting my father, who was in a semi-comatose state at that point for probably about 15 years of his life. It was very difficult. It was challenging. I did avoid it for a number of years, and then I realized I really should see my father. It's important to see him, even though I couldn't really articulate why, but I did. And while we're in the car getting ourselves together to go in, there was a little bit of a garden and some beautiful trees. And the trees on the property were bending to the wind. And no one really noticed it but my son in the back seat. And he shouted, "Look, Mom, look, the wind is holding up the trees." And it kind of took me a second to really kind of contemplate the gift of that statement, of what he just said. And both my sister and I, my sister has a deeper appreciation. My sister's a writer, she's an artist, and she just said, "Vez, did you hear what he just said? Just she asked me to just stop and to take a minute." And when we were looking at the trees, through my son's beautiful 5-year-old eyes, I didn't see trees being blown, where the wind was trying to sort of uproot them. What I saw was the wind supporting in them, demonstrating their strength, beauty, and resilience. And it was that momentary reflection, it was that reflection that was all I needed to shift my perspective. And after that day, seeing my father, being able to visit him, even though he couldn't talk to me, even though he couldn't look at me, even though seeing him at that moment, I realized the blessing being able to touch him and talk to him, and him being able to meet my children, and my children to be able to connect to their grandfather in whatever means that we were able to have at that time. Children's whole worldview is through the eyes of wonder and excitement. And being able to adopt this for ourselves, life doesn't become such an arduous task or something we just need to get through, like a means to an end, but it becomes more of a game or an adventure. And you know, beauty in relationships, which can be an adventure. It can at times, and you know, and a very challenging adventure at times, you know. Relationships, though, are opportunities, especially I've learned to discover and appreciate the most conflicted ones, are an opportunity for us to create heaven on earth. Looking for beauty in all of our relationships and all of our interactions, so all of them, even, you know, at the grocery store, paying for your groceries and your interaction with the clerk and the customer behind you. These are all opportunities to overcome the illusion of separation. Gives us the opportunity to be able to see ourselves in other people. And the reason that connection, and this is the reason why connection is a basic need, is because at the core of it, we are never really disconnected. That's something there within us, always longing to express. And so feelings of isolation and loneliness, well, they're just created by a belief that this is not true, or by the lack of understanding of this truth. And conflict, as I said earlier, is our opportunity to recognize what these triggers are, and that they are our own unconscious areas for healing. So it's not about what they're saying and how wrong they are, or what a jerk they are, or, you know, how much what they're saying is hurting us, but it's more about what is it within me that's being triggered? What is moving me from my center? And being able to stop and catch your breath and be present to that. I mean, there's so much gift in it. And again, I'll share another story. My children, yes, they really are my greatest teachers. In my experience of creating this talk this week, and I know this is a phenomenon that happens with other speakers, it was really my opportunity to walk that talk. Well, at some point this week, a few days ago, my youngest son, Gordon, who's 17, approached me. We started to have an argument about something that we constantly argue about. And he's a teenager, and you know, really triggering my defenses, because the argument started to go into all of the things that I was doing wrong as a parent. And because I was to practice this was my commitment to practice this path. I stopped, I took a breath, I let go of my need to be right, and I just opened myself up to just understanding and connecting. I didn't know how else to do it. I didn't know how to find the beauty in this moment to get past my anger. So I just set the intention to be there and nothing more. In doing so, the conversation shifted from an argument, I mean, a head-on-head argument. My son was still angry. He was still spewing all the reasons why he was angry. But what happened in the course of that, instead of just him being defensive, he started to share more and more of his pain, and not just what I created, but what was happening to him, and how he felt misunderstood and alone. And, you know, I just became too present to the pain in his life. And that my gutter balls, even though they weren't intentional, even though I did the best that I could at the time, and clearly they weren't enough for him, that my actions, you know, they had caused this pain with him. And it was hard to listen to that. It was really hard. But then I came to a place of realizing that as ugly and as painful as truth can be from the human perspective, you know, truth is truth. And even though we didn't end that camp, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, we didn't hug and kiss and say we love each other, and, you know, it wasn't like that. He left the room finishing what he had to say, and I cried and I prayed for forgiveness for myself and for him. But I came to this place of peace, knowing that where there was truth, there is healing. Where there was truth, there was connection, there was intimacy. And I was able to be that presence for him. And we were closer at that moment, even though it didn't feel good. And like I said, being human sometimes, well, it just doesn't feel good, but it doesn't make the experience any less profound or transformative. Which brings us to forgiveness. So restoring beauty through forgiveness. And forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It's not mine. I can't remember where I heard it, but it's a gift that we give ourselves, and it's a self-protection mechanism. And this is where we get caught up sometimes, where the ego that's there to protect us tries to convince us the reason why we're mad is to protect us, when in all truth, the reason why we're not letting go is because we don't want to let go. We don't want the pain, but we don't want to let go. Maybe it was a broken relationship. I don't know, like whatever it is, you know, we keep ourselves, our ego keeps us attached to that experience, to that person, and it's doing it for a reason. Now, Anthony J. Sciorra, the writer of the book Beauty, A Path to God, which was also an inspiration for this talk, he speaks to how we can begin to enter the process of forgiveness, because it is a process. And the first way is to begin exploring the pain. So that requires acknowledging that it's there, okay? Not getting stuck in it, not justifying it, not judging it, but acknowledging that it's there and allowing ourselves to be open to look into it, to see, for the opportunity that it is. And then we name the pain and we forgive it, and we feel it, sorry. It's really important to be clear with yourself as to what exactly happened and why, what the injury was, and how it caused you to be alienated from the other person. It's really just a process of validating, really. You're just validating it. And the best way to bypass the ego and defenses is to simply validate what you've experienced. And in doing so, you can also start asking yourself, and it's an opportunity for reflection. You can start asking yourself, why am I acting this way, reacting this way? What was the damage that's been done? Also, I'm going to invite you to go a little further and invite you to look at why you are holding on to the experience and how it's affecting your life. When I was working with a life coach, they had asked me to do something called the forgiveness exercise, potato exercise. And some of you might have already done it. It's a very popular exercise where I had to carry a bag of potatoes everywhere I went. Those potatoes represented every sort of situation in my life that I didn't forgive, I didn't let go. And I had to carry it everywhere. Grocery store, work, when I was meeting with clients, whatever I was doing, I was carrying those sack of potatoes. And at first it was a joke, it was funny, it was it generated conversation. But after a while, I got tired of talking about it. I got tired of carrying it around. And I started to see how holding on to these potatoes, so all of these moments of unforgiveness, was permeating into every single aspect of my life and taking away the joy and the peace from it. So after you've done that, so after you've been able to name it, validate it, explore it, now it's your opportunity as a conscious creator to use your faculty of will to make a choice as to what your next steps will be. So now, as I mentioned before, forgiveness happens in layers. So give yourself whatever time you need to get there, and you're going to notice that you may forgive some of it at this point, and then you'll forgive a little more as you go along, because there's healing that needs to be happening between each phase. So in the end, it's really your choice, as Anthony J. Sciorra says, whether to wallow in the weeds of resentment or to move forward toward the weed of healing and forgiveness. And now the good stuff, beauty in darkness. Our ego's primary function is to protect us, and our natural human tendency is to avoid difficult or uncomfortable feelings and experiences. And I think sometimes, you know, we tell ourselves that we aren't, but I don't know about everyone else. Speaking for myself, my ego can be very subtle, and it can be very tricky in making me believe I'm dealing with something where I'm actually not. But it's in the rawness of these dark experiences where we're forced to go into deeper levels of awareness. And it's also often where we where we stir up creativity. And it's also where artists a lot of the time find their inspiration. Darkness is an unsettling force, and it really can unconsciously, like it can send us in two directions. We can go towards light and beauty, or we can end up in hopelessness and sorrow. So it's the conscious use of our will to embrace darkness and to draw up enough strength to travel through it that'll take us to the light. And the only way towards the light is to surrender. Surrender. Isn't that such a wonderful word? Surrender. Yes, we just need to surrender, folks. Surprise. And it's just not a part of the process that we can bypass. The Easter story, and we use this a lot metaphysically in Unity, because it is the example of the transformational process. But in the Easter story, there seems to be a lot of emphasis on the resurrection. In some parts of Christianity, also the suffering of Jesus, but not much attention is given to the Holy Saturday, to the entombment of Jesus. And metaphysically, we know this as the void, and that phase comes after death of the old and before the resurrection of the new. Now, the void is a time of spiritual emptiness. It's a state of complete receptivity. It's a higher level of the mind that attunes with nothing or no thing, from which all things materialize. It's a space of pure potentiality, and it is the closest experience we can have from our humanness of the nature of God. I've been blessed a few times, not a lot, with this experience of the void, both in meditation and some other spiritual practices that I've participated in. And when I try to share this experience, that vastness, that nothingness and allness, just that emptiness, this vacuum of space, that when I sat there and there's no feeling, there's really no feeling. I didn't experience love, I didn't experience fear, but there was this, as Eric Butterworth stated, the allness, the potentiality. I could feel and sense I was that. And when we're able, but the ego's afraid of it. When I share this experience, a lot of people, oh, weren't you afraid? That sounds kind of scary, because vastness and nothingness and allness is not something that that the ego can grasp. But it's when we can surrender to this, knowing that that fear is nothing but what it is, a false evidence appearing real, that it is an illusion. We allow ourselves, we allow our lives, we allow every experience to unfold in an unlimited potentiality. So it's just letting ourselves fully embrace and embody whatever it is that we're experiencing at that moment. Unity principles, specifically, I'm going to be talking about the first and second. The first principle, God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. And number two, we are all spiritual beings. The Spirit of God lives within each person, therefore all people are inherently good. And the path of beauty acts as that channel to awaken us to these principles, to practice these principles. Contemplating on the beauty in our lives keeps us open to witnessing the divine at work while cultivating the practice of receiving. It's because we are open when we're in that presence or that place of contemplation. We're an open receiver, and this aligns us with the creative flow of the universe, where we can actively co-create with God. And it gives us the opportunity to be pulled out of our habitual ways of thinking and seeing and being, so that we can make space for pleasure and joy and, you know what, honestly, things so much greater than we could ever imagine. Now, in her poem, Aurora Lee, which is actually a novella or a novel and a poem, Elizabeth Browning wrote, "Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush aflame with God. But only those who see take off their shoes, and the rest sit around it and pluck blackberries." So what do you choose? Do you choose to see the beauty in and all around you, in everything or everyone, and allow yourself to experience that little bit of heaven on earth? Or to simply pluck the berries? Neither is wrong. I love blackberries. But give me heaven each and every time. Thank you, everyone. And now, if you'd like to get comfortable in your seats as we prepare for meditation.
Just be in this moment. Just be in this place. Just be open to love. Hear the still small voice. Draw near the grace of God. I am in this moment. In this moment, I am this place, I am open to love, hear the still small voice, draw near the grace of God. We are in this moment. We are in this place. We are open to love. Hear the still small voice, draw near the grace of God.
So if you can get comfortable in your seats, place your feet firmly on the floor, placing your hands in any comfortable position in your lap as we set the intention to just be fully present to the be here now, to this eternal moment. If we can take a nice deep breath in, filling up our lungs and releasing the breath, letting go of all tension, all thought, all emotion. And taking another deep breath in, breathing in peace and love, and exhaling, letting go, feeling our bodies relax and sinking heavier into our seats as we center ourselves in the one presence, one power in the universe. Allowing our bodies and our minds to open up. As I take you back in time into a moment in your life where you were acutely aware of the beauty in what you were experiencing. It could have been this week, could have been last week, could have been 10 years ago. I just invite you to allow whatever comes up to come up without any judgment, without any thought. Don't try and change it. Allow it to come up and to fill your mind and your consciousness. And with your mind's eye, see that experience and that moment as clearly and with as much detail as possible. The colors, the sounds, the scents, the temperature even, the people that were around you. Were you alone? And as you become immersed in that moment, notice within your body the sensation or sensations that are coming up. Don't judge them, don't try and name them, just observe them. Is it a warmth in your chest? Maybe it's a hollowness in your belly, a heaviness in your shoulders. And I invite you to give that sensation a color. See it as vibrantly and as brightly as possible, as clearly as possible. And focusing on that area in your body, allow that beautiful color to start to grow out and permeate throughout your body, through every organ, through your limbs, your toes, your fingers, allowing that beautiful sensation to just take over. Moving up in your neck, jaw, head, until you are fully immersed in the beauty and wonder and joy and peace and stillness of that moment. Allow it to just shift you. Allow it to just be. And stay with it as we enter the silence. Now, if you can take a nice deep breath in as we bring our focused attention back into the present moment, into your surroundings, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated with the gift of infusing God's love through our bodies and minds, where we can bring this out into our lives, into the people in our lives, our community, and into the world as we become a channel for God's grace. And so it is. Amen. Slowly begin to open your eyes. And thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Vesna. Oh my goodness. How vulnerable you were today. That was so blessed, such a blessing to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now it's time for our love offering. Because as you know, we're self-supporting, 100%. And while some of our expenses are on hold right now, there's others that have increased to create this service for you every Sunday. So I invite you to take your love offering in your hand and to know that these are the ways that you can give through to Unity of York Region. It's all on the e-blast as well. And let's say our affirmation together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is my source. Thank you, God.
My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it can heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes.
And now let's bring our service to a close as we affirm the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
We are now surrounded and enfolded by the pure white light of Spirit. Nothing but good shall come to us, and only good shall go from us. Go forth in peace, love, and radiant joy. Amen.
Amen. Have a blessed week, everybody.